Pleasant morning to you one and all. Pleasant morning. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corrupt Incompetence. Today is Monday, the 15th day of December in the year of our Lord 2025. Welcome one and all. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you are looking forward to a productive week. You know, this is the week before Christmas. Yes. Next Thursday is Christmas Day. So here we are. I know many of you have a lot of stuff to do, cleaning to do, shopping to do, a lot of running around. So welcome. And the fact that you have so much to do and you find time to come and to listen, to attend class today, we appreciate that very much. We appreciate that you will take time off from your busy schedule, even though I know some of you are going to multitask. You're going to listen whilst at the same time you're doing your work. So welcome. Share the live and let them know that we're on, because I was busy and I did not get to post the notification. And so therefore some people might have been caught. Some people might have believed that we're not going to have a program today. Well, let me say this. Let me understand how it will work. If you don't see a post, it means that we have class. If for some reason there is no class or the timing is changed, I will ensure that I do everything to inform you. So the fact that there was no post yesterday about today's program is an indication that we're on. So let me understand that and work from there. So yes, welcome to this next day that the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. Give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should never, ever take that for granted. So yes, hope you had a wonderful weekend. For those of you who are in the U.S., especially New York, cold. Maybe you can get some of your friends from Guyana to send some warm weather for you. So yes, cold, freezing, I understand. Even today, freezing, below zero, below 32. You know, 32 is freezing. So 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So once it's below 30, you are freezing. Stay warm, my friends, my students. Stay warm. Now, my colleague CC is already in the studio. We have lots to tell you this morning. Lots and lots to tell you. As is customary, you know, there's so many things happening that we have to bring them to your attention. You come here to get credible, valuable information, and we will not disappoint. Share the live as you come in. Share the live. Give us the thumbs up. Doors were open. The gates were open at 8 o'clock this morning, and immediately we had many students who were lined up to enter the schoolyard. And as has now become customary, we are going to give you the roll call. Recognize those who are here early, and then we're going to make the announcements, and we're going to go straight into the program. As listed, you know, again, let me explain. Once the program is scheduled, 8 o'clock, I schedule the program. Then the platform will list people in the comment section, those who make comments. And so everybody coming at 8 can be listed at the same time. There's some order. And the order in which they are listed today, even though all of them came in at 8, you have first man listed is Ian Lucius, followed by Jakey, followed by Barbara, Peter, Barlett, the man from the hills, is here, came in at 8 o'clock. Grantley, Leon Gibbo is here, 8 o'clock. Then we have, this is who? Joan from New Amsterdam is here at 8. Puran from the Essequibo Coast here. And then shortly after, Patrick from the UK, Janella, then Brian, Courtney, Floyd. Floyd is a Lindian man, I know. Marcia, Then there's the next Clive. He is from the UK, Clive Nestor. Then we have Nicola, Joy, Winston from California, Terrence. Then it was, who is that? Ricky Smith. Then Rosalind. And the list goes, well, let me give you, those people came in within the first 2 minutes. We had Desiree, who recently had a birthday. Desiree, I hope you enjoyed your birthday. Then it was Ezzy, Ivor, Kerry is here with us. Brennan is here. Brennan, I see you say eat and teach. I hope you mean beat and teach. Well, you know, graphical is, well, not typographical. That's a letter drop off. Beat and teach, he would normally say. But today he's telling me to eat. Want to eat what? Want to eat what? We had Emerson coming in there at 8:02. Gordon, Clifton, all the way from Paris. He was here at that time as well. So those were the early students in the schoolyard. And then when the school doors were open, let me see how they rank when the doors were open. Forrest Body in. Hey, let me make sure I get it right. Forrest Body in the schoolyard. Yolanda was here first. She beat out Edward. What time she came in? She came in at exactly 11. Edward came in at 11 too, but Yolanda is listed above. Then we had Brandy. Then we have, well, Yolanda saying Chilo always late for class. I don't think so. Late is what? He came in before you, Yolanda. And I ain't representing you because of the relationship. It's a fact, he came in before you. Rosie Rose is here. Then we have Joan, Lester, and Umar. Rudolph, and the list goes on and on for those who are here and already and are therefore recognized. Then we go to the announcements. Again, unfortunately, we have some sad announcements this morning. First, let me remind you that today is 640 days since Sergeant Vaughn, Sergeant Vaughn was killed. 640 days, Police Sergeant Alex Vaughn was shot and killed. Police silent, man. These transparent people, very, very silent, right? Then I told you some time ago about the death of former Special Corporal 3563, Alexander Bentik, right? He died some time ago. The funeral is tomorrow at number 42 Village, West Coast, Berbice. That is the funeral of Special Corporal, the late Special Corporal 3563, Alexander Bentik. Funeral tomorrow. Brother of retired Assistant Commissioner Marlon Chapman. So tomorrow at number 42, West Coast, Berbice will be that funeral. We also told you some time ago about the death of a squad mate of mine, W331 Claudette Gibbs. I learned that she'll be buried on the 27th of December in Florida. More information will be provided in subsequent broadcasts. We told you too about the death of retired Chief Inspector Tessa. There's no further information on that. As soon as it becomes available, we let you know. So too, retired Chief Inspector Gregory Ford Trotman, old presidential guard man who died on the 9th. Further details to follow. And then I learned this morning, I was preparing of the death of another squad mate, former member Christopher Johnson, 94-33 Johnson, died this morning. And he was ill for some time. He was ill for a long time, died in New Jersey this morning. Those of you who remember Christopher was an outstanding footballer in the mid-late 70s, and he represented Guyana in football during that period. 94-23, Christopher Johnson passed away this morning. Then we had another fatal accident yesterday. It doesn't give me pleasure to announce these things, but as we have said, the roads are so dangerous. Almost every episode that we come, fatal accident. Almost every episode. This is, they say, involving a pedestrian and a car. Where's them? The car was proceeding east, they say, on the northern side of the road. Pedestrian was walking on the same side, and then they say he ran across the road into the path of the car. He was struck and killed. Not a fatality. I noted with some interest or some concern that they don't give you the figures now, You know, in the past, you would say, at least when I was traffic chief, but long after, they will tell you what is the number of fatal accidents for the year as compared to the previous year. So you can get a understanding of what is going on. The only fatal accident, they tell you serious accident, damage accident. Then they broke it down to tell you how many children, how many pedal cyclists, and you get an idea of what was going on. But no longer, that is no longer so. That is no longer so. I can't recall the last time I heard them saying that, giving you the figures of what is going on. And you know, in some countries, I remember driving around Jamaica, the big billboard telling you the number of fatalities they had for the year. Is there information? Some people, I guess it's intended for me to make people aware of the dangers on the road. But not in Guyana. Not in Guyana. These things are hidden. And then they're going to come, they're going to tell you, oh, there were so many fatal accidents and so many deaths. And then they're going to make, they're going to tell you about fatal incidents and accidents, right? But when the point is, people are dying on the road. And even if you disaggregate them to incident and accident, that give us the overall figure. These are the number of people who died on the road during the period. That is what they're not doing that. So we had another fatal accident. Also, we had another fire, quarantine fire. Yeah, it's rough to have to be displaced by fire this time of the year, just before Christmas. We had one West Demerara within the past 2 to 3 weeks. This is the third major fire that I can recall where people are displaced. We had one in West Demerara. That last week reported one in New Amsterdam. Now there's one on the quarantine. We don't know what is the real cause, if it's through carelessness or what, but we implore you to be extremely, extremely careful, right? Extremely, extremely careful. And then before I bring in, let me say this. Today is the 15th of December, as I announced at the beginning. And I remember that the 15th of December 2023 was when the late Brigadier Gary Beaton, who died in that helicopter crash, was buried on the 15th. Big thing at the Promenade Gardens there, 15th of December, 2 years ago. And that report on that accident still not made public. Even though Jerry Govaya, the National Security Advisor, came out with a statement that the president will make the announcement. Then he was contradicted by Jack Dio. Jack Dio came and said, no, the Defense Board will make the announcement. And then they said to us that, look, this thing had to go to stakeholders for review. 2 years and counting. 2 years. You have had some fatal, some air accident. Remember the Air India? You got reports on these things already, you know. You have reports on them, but 2 years since those 5 soldiers died in that helicopter crash. Can't get a report from the government as to say what has happened. And the family still want closure. I saw an article, I think it's one in Starbuck News. People waiting for closure for what caused the loved ones to die in that helicopter crash. Very important. We're hearing that. And then well, let me say this. We told you too about the death of the wife of retired Superintendent Vibert Smith, right? She died suddenly last Friday. But there's a very disturbing development in that matter. And I hoping the minister and all them will think. A post-mortem examination was ordered. And for those of you who don't know, post-mortem examinations are generally conducted 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So she died on Friday, and a post-mortem examination was scheduled for this morning. Now, the process is that the police, this station is Parfaith Harmony, the district in which she resides, has to prepare the coroner's order, get the coroner's order signed by the JP, and be there to present that to the pathologist at the place where the postmortem is to be performed. I understand that this morning, everything was arranged this morning, and then they give the relatives, the police that is, give a royal run around just to get this, for them to get the postmortem done. Somebody with detail, and the body walking in the night, and this body can't go. They have to get the next person, then the next person then got to go and get the JP to sign the coroner's order. And of course, with all of that, by the time they get to the mortuary where the postmortem is to be performed, they got late because the doctor, I think, works between a specific time. But then they got late. So no postmortem. No postmortem. Now perhaps Wednesday again. And this type of thing inconvenience people because you have a loved one who's died. You're making arrangements, right, for funeral and all of that. So, I mean, it's worrisome. And then I heard too, this one struck me as very strange that in order for the justice of the peace to sign the coroner's order, which is a routine thing. You know what I want? The justice got to be paid $5,000 to sign a coroner's order to have a postmortem done. The justice of the peace had to be paid 5,000 Guyana dollars. My Lord. And I know as justice of the peace, you're not supposed to be charging people money for things like that. I was a justice of the peace for the time I was at the Police Service Commission as the chairman. And I signed many documents, passport forms and all, never asked for a cent because as I know it, the justice peace provides a service to the community, but $5,000. And let me say this again. The people wanted the postmortem was to be done today. So no doubt they're making arrangement for funeral and family traveling and all this type of thing. Wait. So the funeral parlor took the body, because it is stored in West Demerara, to the mortuary. Then no postmortem, so you got to take back the body to the mortuary. And then Wednesday, now you got to carry it, more storage. It's more cost to the family. More cost to the family. I can't understand also something as simple and as routine as a coroner's order to get a postmortem examination done. The police faltering like this. And again, look at it, because it's more distress to the family. Imagine if they had made arrangement for burial this afternoon or for burial tomorrow. Because a PM is a straightforward and routine thing. They can't do that any longer. They have to cancel. And bear in mind, the longer the body is there at the funeral home, it's more you got to pay. Because they charge for storage and all of that. Right? They charge. Now, yeah, it looks like this JP thing is a business thing now. It's a business thing. A justice of the peace is not supposed to be charging people money for things like that. The justice of the peace, one of the things I recall very well, when an application is made, the police will do the investigation. It goes to the director of the Attorney General's chamber. And one of the things they would always say, well, they don't have this type of service in the community. And the service is needed to assist members in the community. That is what it should be. So a person wants a passport application to be signed, you go to the Justice of the Peace, they sign, the stamp it. But no longer so. $5,000, imagine that. $5,000 just to affix a signature to a coroner's order. That is what we are in now. But let me tell you the come out of this depressing mode and tell you about the more pleasant one. And then I'm going to bring in CC. Board day greetings. Well, I have some other stuff to tell, but let me tell you about the board day greetings first before I bring in CC. I know today is the board anniversary of retired Assistant Commissioner Michael Summersall, retired Assistant Commissioner, former chairman of the Public Service Commission, and therefore he was ex officio member of the Police Service Commission, attorney at law, and all that. Today is Mike's birthday. And then I have pre-birthday greetings. I think Joseph Jack. I don't know if he's still in the force or what. Old traffic man, Jack. Birthday is tomorrow, I think it is. And then I noted that one of our regular loyal students, Rena Marks, is also celebrating a birthday in the near future. So we have Joseph Jack, Rena Mark celebrating shortly, and Michael Summersall celebrating today. So I want to take this opportunity for us. Let me go back and express condolences to all those, the relatives of all those persons who have passed, and to say congratulations to all those who are celebrating the birthday today, who celebrated recently, and who celebrating in the near future. I can now bring in CC for him to do his thing, so to speak. CC, welcome. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you're looking forward to a productive week. Go ahead.
Yeah, happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. and also happy to be in the land of the living today because today is one of my granddaughter's birthday. She's 8 years old. Catalina, we call her Cathy, and today Cathy is 8 years old, and I'm sure her mother's gonna put out the works with support from her father. But let me tell you a little bit about Cathy. On Friday, she sent me WhatsApp photograph her holding two trophies. No explanation. So I WhatsApp her back and said, Cathy, please explain. And then she sent a voice note to me. She's calling me Papa Chief. Papa Chief, I brought force in the school exam, and I got a trophy also for the best composition. She goes to May's school, and she's always a bright student. She always a top student. So she brought forth this term, and she got the best composition. Well, I know she could talk. I know she could explain herself. So I'm not surprised with the comp- composition. But then an incident or something happened the last term. She brought forth the last term, and then she came to see me, and she jumped on my lap, and she showed me her middle finger. So I said, Cathy, explain that. Showing me your middle finger. She said, Grandfather, you don't understand. It's one, it's showing you I brought force. It's force. I said, well, not middle finger you're going to use. You got to use the other finger if you want to show me that you brought force. But she's a top student, and perhaps she took after her parents because both the mother and father, they are university graduates. My son and the president went to the same school, but they weren't in the same class, and they didn't go to the same university. So I expect my granddaughter to have a wonderful day today. I know she's a busybody. So congratulations, Kathy, you might be listening. Also, Mike Summersall. I called him this morning. I wish him happy birthday. And he told me that he's batting in the crease and he's not hitting across the line. He's playing it safe. He's protecting himself. And to the other persons who celebrated their birthdays, I want to wish them all well. And then I must comment, on what took place this morning in relation to the post-mortem that this should have had for the wife of Vibert Smith. I really don't understand that force that you gotta pay the JP $5,000 to sign the order. And a simple order. I used to do postmortem, I used to witness postmortem, I used to do death investigation as a constable. And I recall, let Dr. Singh perform a postmortem on the body and then let the body be buried. It was a simple order we used to get. But I don't know how the JP charging. It's amazing. How is JP going to charge you for signing an order to do a postmortem? On order of. And then the police at West Moraro. West Moraro for me is the poorest managed division. So many things going wrong, and especially Parfait Harmony, things going wrong in Parfait Harmony all the time, and they party they're not doing anything but it. You name it, and it happening in Parfait Harmony. Person dying in the station, all kind of thing happening. Police get shot in the stomach, and all sort of thing happening in Parfait Harmony. Somebody you got to rape at Parfait Harmony. Somebody need to look at Parfait Harmony, and then the commander, you don't hear anything about the commander. He has a background from special branch. Stay, you don't say anything, stay quiet. So perhaps he has the same mode. You don't hear anything from that commander there. But for me, region number 3, the worst managed division in this country. Everything bad that should happen there. And only that, understand Smithy and tell me, understand Smithy, they have to pay the police, they'll pay transportation for the police from West Dem to the mortuary and back. and they had to make some other trips, and they had to provide transportation for the police. So many things happening in Western Rural. Yeah. But look at it. You a relative of yours died. You want the PM to be done so that you could have the burial. Yeah? The police can't put systems in place. Can't put systems in place for a post-mortem to be done. Simple thing, get the JP to sign the order for the post-mortem to be done, and you go early and brief the doctor and present him with the order. That is the simple thing to be done. You mean the police can't do that up to now? And then they gotta pay. You gotta pay the JP to just affix his signature there. And then I want to believe Smithy won't talk that they must have to pay the police now to go and witness the postmortem. I know they have to provide transportation to and fro, as the case may be. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And here again, the police engage in nonsense. A simple thing as a postmortem, eh? Get the order, get the coroner's order, get the JP to sign, take it early to the portages, and you get the thing done so that the people there can get their body, get the cause of death, and do their burial. Something is wrong with region number 3 policing, and more so, something really getting crazy with Parafaith Harmony Police Station. Parafaith Harmony Police Station. Perhaps they need to pull it out from there and carry it in the sea and throw it overboard, or work some spiritual thing, let it bathe them with some blue water or some kind of thing. Something is really wrong with Parafaith Harmony Police Station and the division as a whole.
Well, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. However, one student commented it's going to be a close race for worst division between Region 3 and Region 1. The cocaine capital of Guyana, Region 1, you get a lot of problems shooting. You get inappropriate sexual conduct allegation against a commander, against corporal with a 15-year-old. You get just the other day, police rank with AK-47 in the street. So it's a close competition, I would think. I would think it's a close competition between Region 3 and Region 1 for the worst division. The other divisions too that are going to compete with them, there are others as well. Let me move on. Christmas is coming. As I said, Christmas is coming. When I went to primary school, they said Christmas is coming, the geese is getting fat. Please put a penny in the old man hat. If you don't have a penny, a cent will do. If you don't have a cent, then God bless you. That was something we used to recite as a little boy going to school. But now you got to hope for current, electricity, especially at this time of the year, electricity. So many excuses by the Guyana Power Light. I told you there was when they had a blackout some time ago, it was because of some board on the power ship. A board caused blackout almost countrywide, widespread blackout. Then last week, they said was a Yaori, a possum. For those of you who don't know what a Yaori is, it's an opossum, right? You said the Yaori caused the blackout. Now, that's some other blackout. After that Yaori strike, that's some other blackout. Let me read what it said. They said unsupervised construction activities near L17 transmission line at Unity on the East Coast. That is what caused the blackout. Unsupervised construction activities. There's some contractor, somebody was carrying out. They were changing some pole to concrete pole, but the activity was unsupervised, and that is what caused a recent blackout. That is what the GPL people are telling us now. As are the excuses. People are not concerned with that. What we concerned with, you turn on, you can't get TV, you can't get no light. That is what people are concerned about. That is what concerns people, and people are even more concerned having regards to the fact that they spend so much money for bring power ship and all them type of thing, and still getting blackout, still getting frequent power outages, right? It is worrying, and especially come out to Christmas now. Oh Lord, imagine that. People got to do the baking. Because nowadays, them lady don't beat up butter and egg with the unbeaten and so on. They got a little electric appliance for mix your cake and so on. And then you're gonna get blackout. So let me hope, keep your fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed. When it comes to the one half that people, the cash grant that people are looking out for, I tell you all, go and get your special Christmas tree. Because like it ain't coming, because I saw a statement today attributed to the minister with responsibility for finance that cash grant is not the only way they're going to distribute funds and all this other thing. Basically what they're saying, you ain't going to get to Christmas. And I said on the previous program, the fact that the members of APNU went out last Monday and protested for cash grant, they said not less than $150,000, even if the government had intended to pay it before Christmas, that protest would cause them not to deliver, because they want to feel that it's because of the opposition. That is why they have caved to the pressure and are going to give the power outage. Well, you get your Christmas tree, man, but this still requires power, even though it might cheap. It still, I say, plug in there for getting electricity, and therefore, if you don't get electricity, that too will not work. That too will not work, right? So that is what is going on. And before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me tell you about this one too that I read. You know, they have the what is referred to, or what the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, right, described as the concussion road, the concussion highway, what is officially known as the Heroes Highway. That recently, newly built, less than about 2 years, that highway was open officially. And then the president named it Heroes Highway in honor of those 5 soldiers who died in that helicopter crash, the report for which we can't get as yet. I was shocked. I must admit, to be honest, I was shocked. Should not have been, because this government is so corrupt, but I was shocked. You know what shocked me? To read sometime last week that the government now said they're going to spend a further $4.something billion, billion with a B, to widen the road, that same road. Let me repeat that in case you all miss it. The government is now saying that they're going to spend a further $4.something billion Guyana to widen that road, which was constructed less than 2 years, about 2 years ago. That is not incompetence. That is not corruption. Look to see who can get the contract. And allegations are, when these things are done, you get big drawback and kickback. That is what the allegation is, right? So when you hear them 4 billion, you think about this, you know. Think about this, students. Think about this. This road, big fanfare. Open this new road. First of all, they do it with cement, concrete. So it wasn't a smooth surface, right? And then if you were to investigate who are the people who brought in the cement, from Turkey in particular, right? Turkey, boatloads of cement from Turkey is FFF, friends, family, and favorite. So they were encouraged to bring in cement. There's a ready market for them, ready market. So they build the road with concrete. Not only that highway, all its villages, well, not all the villages. My experience is some villages where certain people, certain ethnic group live, they did those, we can't even call it road, right? Some strips, concrete. Other villages where next set of people live, asphalted road. Or even if it's a strip, asphalted. There people bringing in the cement for the project. So that was the first thing that struck me. Why you're building a modern highway, as you call it, and the surface is concrete. And then when the U.S. Secretary of State commented on it, the president, I can say that because I heard him say that, that he was reported to have said that was not the finished product. They're going to asphalt it. That is what they're going to asphalt it. Now we are hearing now that they plan to widen it to the tune of 4.2 or something like that billion Guyana dollars. $4 billion Guyana dollars more to be spent on that road. I'm not sure what was originally spent to build it, but $4 billion more. And you tell me, even if You want to give them little free little ease and say, well, it's not corruption. It is incompetence. Because you want to tell me when you design this thing, you make one thing and because it's not a case where the money is not available. The money there, duro, the money there. So why build it the way it was built? And now you have to spend money to widen it. That is incompetence, and I believe a combination of incompetence and corruption. Because as people have been alleging, allegation, mind you, that kickbacks are there. Kickbacks are there. Let me bring in CC to obviously on the subject I've covered. CC, what is your take on all of this, man? Corruption or incompetence?
Corruption, corruption, plus incompetence. But the incompetence would be the corruption, and the corruption so that the friends and the families and the favorites and the flatterers would get things. They didn't know when they building the road that it should have been so wide. They didn't know that they should have asphalt the road. Huh? But I can't give the government any amount of credit for strategic planning. They don't plan strategically. Here I'm scared today for tomorrow. They ain't get vision. They man looking down the line. Perhaps it's right because if they look down the line, the corruption can't take place. So it's about corruption. So they build fancy road, they're riding road, corruption, so that billions of taxpayers' money will go down to corruption. And it will continue. It will continue.
Yeah, it will continue because I get a set of corrupt people in run managing the system. Now, a question that is asked, as we said, no cash grant. So far, it doesn't look like we're going to get cash grant for Christmas. The giant services, we want to know what about the one off. As we said before, every year end leading up to Christmas, police at first used to get a 1 month salary and 1 month salary. And many people, including me, I had argued against, even though I used to benefit from it, I just said this thing should not be across the board because you have a situation or you had a situation then that every single person on your payroll, whether they work, whether they're sick, whether they're lazy, all of them used to get this one off. I say it's unfair. It is unfair because when the government, I think it started under Bharat Jagdi or somewhere there, because I remember teasing them about it at one of the police Christmas caroling session that I chaired or I emceed. Right? So I think it's around then. So when they announced this one off 1 month salary for members of the police force when it started, of course it was intended to bribe. Even though I benefited as a member of the force, I said, but this thing is unfair because you have a lot of people, some NFGs, people with all sorts of matters against them and so on. They used to benefit from it too. And then what happened? Then the people in the army complained and the army, they should get, and then it was extended to the army, this 1 month bonus. And at the time, at some stage, Rear Admiral Best was the chief of staff of the Guided Defense Force. And he decided that certain officers who he felt were not qualified to receive this one-off bonus should not get it. And he withheld it from those officers. And they took him to court. You see, if you don't remember these things, they took the chief of staff, Rear Admiral Best, to court because they say when the president announced this one-off bonus, he did not attach any condition to it. And therefore, it was wrong for the chief of staff to attach conditions and so on. That is what, I can't recall what was the outcome, but I remember very well they took him to court. And I agreed with the reasoning by the then chief of staff because you got people who are working, I'm sick all year, half year, always sick. And not genuinely sick, We're talking about these people who are skivers, who are malingerers, reporting sick. They don't want to work, they're reporting sick. People get all sort of issues, disciplinary issues. They all got it. And I said that is unfair to those hardworking members. So what happened to it this time around? I know. So the people, I guess, members of the force, members of the GDF, and so on, they're still waiting, right? They're still waiting. Now, let me say this. I'm going to read a release. There was a shooting by the police, right? I think it was on Friday. Shooting. Police shot a man, and they made a release. Let me read the release. It's very short, and then I'm going to show you the video and ask you to form your own opinion as to what transpired. And I'm going to make some points about it. It says here, Ghana Police Force investigating shooting incident at Red Road, Sophia. Right? This is a release from the police. The Ghana Police Force is investigating a shooting incident which occurred on Friday, December 12, 2025, about 1700 hours, at Red Road, D Field, Sophia. Preliminary investigations reveal that ranks responded to a report of larceny, and upon arrival at the location, a 35-year-old suspect of Coming Large squatting area was arrested. In the process, the suspect allegedly became aggressive, assaulted a rank, and attempted to escape from custody. The suspect reportedly armed himself with a glass bottle and advanced in a threatening manner towards the ranks. Other force options were first employed. However, the suspect continued to advance. As a result, a rank discharged his service weapon, and the suspect sustained an injury to his left foot. The suspect was subdued and escorted to the Turkine police station and later taken to Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, where he received medical attention and was listed in stable condition. Investigations are continuing, and further details will be provided as appropriate. That is the release from the police. Now let me show you the video, and then we're gonna talk about it. And I want to see your comments and so on. Now, let me warn you that the video, as we said, parental discussion or advice, because the video contains some expletive. But I still believe, notwithstanding the expletives, you need to see this thing for yourself. Well, here we go.
What's your mother's gun video? Get it. Shoot after my door, yes, yeah, what are the police doing? Fucking people, right? Shoot after my door.
Watch.
Shoot after my door.
Randy, move from there. Fucking there. Hey, yo! Hello! Move here! Move from there!
We do the fucking thing with the
Randy, move from fucking there, boy! Yo, move from. You move, buddy. I move, buddy.
What?
Randy, move from fucking there, boy! Randy, move from there! Yo! Move from the fucking your place, man!
Let me bring in CC and give him force, like strike force and like this one. Try to explain what we just saw there. And CC and the police press release, and what we just saw there. Go ahead.
I don't think the police press release is in relation to that incident at all. There's the police shooting like if you're shooting board. Look at it. And then when you go to the police act, the police, not the act, when you may fire. And here what it say, and, and allow me to read it. When you're attacked and you apprehend serious danger to your person and unable to defend yourself by any other means, that they talk about when you may fire. When the property you are ordered to defend is attacked and you are unable to safeguard it by any other means. When an attack is made to rescue persons in lawful custody. When anyone is found committing a felony, burglary, shop breaking, house breaking, arson, or larceny, and do not desist after warning and cannot be deterred or arrested by any means, to prevent a police station or police outpost from being overrun, when so ordered by a superior in rank. The very first one, was he attacked and he apprehended serious danger to his person and was unable to defend himself by any other means? Police just turn up and shooting while, like they're shooting birds. When we look at it, so I know what really they reported on. It can't be the incident there. I see no evidence of the man attacking any police there. I it's like Wild West. It's like Wild West. And then you want to know, when you issuing the police with a firearm, don't you read, don't in my days, or what is expected or what is written is that when you may fire, you have to write it in your pocketbook. And when you of lifting a weapon, you have to read it. Force order number 33 of 69, when you may fire, read and explain to this rank. And he said that he understands the nature of the document. An entry is made in the station diary, and the person who receiving the FIM would also have to sign that document there. So that if you want to go up on the road and do nonsense, you were forewarned. But I don't know what's going on there. I don't know, maybe he pick up a weapon like how they want to pick up a weapon at Port Kaitumo and go up on the road and display. Maybe it's about the same thing. So they look like it's a trend, like it is a pattern. When you may fire is critical, and that gotta be embedded in the minds, in the head of all members of the force, and more so when you are lifting a weapon, when you may fire. And anytime you shoot out a wrong, and when you may fire cannot justify you're supposed to get trouble. It's sheer trouble. When you look at it, it's unbelievable. And then they go, right, what's us saying to cover up? To defend. They can't defend that. The cameras don't lie. The cameras don't lie when you watch it. Real recklessness, carelessness, dangerousness by that police there. And then you going on patrol. Certain types of weapon do you use to, but perhaps just go and pick up a weapon and you're going away. But when you may fire, didn't cover the police there. No way. No way. That is lawlessness. There's cowboy. There's like what happened at Port Kaitumo.
Yeah, well, let me have my say on this matter. Students, I'm happy that you told me, about the community standards. I had forgotten, honestly. I had forgotten that the last time when we showed the shooting at Port Kaituma, YouTube banned the program, took us off. And luckily, so far, they have not done so. I suspect because maybe nobody can complain. Because on the last occasion, people tell me other programs show the same thing with the policeman, with the AK-47, and they weren't taken off. But this program was abruptly terminated. So let's hope Again, if I had remembered that, I might not have shown that clip a while ago. But now that you've seen it, let me say this. And I'm speaking from the background of a person who was a firearm instructor in the Ghana Police Force. In other words, I used to teach people to use firearm. I'm making this point from a background of someone who know to shoot or know to handle firearms, right? Classified as a marksman, right? And all of that. So I know something about guns. I know something about how to use and when to use firearms. The first thing, as CC alluded to, this statement, they said during the process, the suspect allegedly became aggressive, assaulted a rank, and attempted to escape. The video didn't reveal a part. Well, you know, the video would not have shown everything, but the video did not reveal this attempt to escape part, to escape from custody. Then it goes on to say the suspect armed himself with a glass bottle and advanced in a threatening manner towards the rank. On here this part, here the BS part, other force options were first employed. What other force options were employed? What other force options? You're supposed to fire if you are attacked and you apprehend your serious danger to your person and you are unable to defend yourself by any other means. That's what the standing order says. If you are attacked and you apprehend serious danger to your person and you are unable to defend yourself by any other means, you are authorized to shoot. So when I say other force options were first employed, the first thing that occurred to me, not so long ago, under Robeson Shoot and Scoot Ben as Minister of Home Affairs, they talk when we had this killing at Maikoni, where the police, 2 policemen shot and killed that man who they said was on Song Mine and the other guy who was trying to assist them. Police opened fire, killed both of them. And we spoke then about the need for less than lethal weapons. The police came out and they said they had acquired tasers. You remember that? They even had a lot of videos showing the training the police to use, and they were tasering. I think we said that was inappropriate. We commented on that. They said that they acquired a taser. Now, in a situation like this, if, as they say, let's take it, let me tell what they say. During the process, the suspect became aggressive, assaulted a rank, and attempted to escape. Where was the taser? Why was he not tased? Oh, you didn't have taser with you, but you get shotgun, right? You get shotgun, but you ain't get taser. So I don't know when they tell you, but other force options were first employed. What were those options that were employed? It's BS. It's BS trying to cover up, and that is a big part of the problem. When these things happen, cover up, right? But as we say, a video is worth 1,000,000 words. We saw it there for ourselves. And let me go on to tell you, right? The man armed and fired off what appeared to be shotgun. In case you all know shotgun, a cartridge. Let me assume that he had, I don't think they will get slugs. You get pellets, number 4 or whatever pellets. A number 4 cartridge carries about 200 pellets. Right? So when he fire off that, it's about 200 pellets gone. And it looked like the surface was a hard surface. Luckily, the thing and ricochet and injure people. Look how many children were around there. Look how many children. This is reckless behavior. Look how many children were around, and the man fired 2 times, fired the shotgun. 2 times, 2 deliberate efforts, he fired the shotgun. Let's say you should have the man 2 or something like that. Right? Again, the man is shot. And hear what they tell you now. Hear what they tell you. He was subdued and escorted to the Turkine police station and later to the Georgetown Public Hospital. You got an injured man, you shoot him, and you carry him to the station first. You took him to the station first, an injured man. Rather than taking him immediately to get medical attention, you took him to the station. And we know how much time elapsed between the time he was shot, the time he was taken to the police station, and then taken for medical attention. It's lack of training. That is what we're saying. It's lack of training, and the government and the administration of the force, must bear responsibility. You're giving a man a shotgun to go on duty. Obviously, he's not properly trained. Obviously, it's obvious to me that that person is not properly trained. No trained person. Because the first thing that you should happen, they're talking about making use of other options were first employed. It's the seed grounds. It's the seed ground. Mark coming at you with a bottle. You see it. In other words, let me explain to them because they might not understand. It's not SEED. It's CD. Seed. You give up grounds. You back off. Back off. Back off. Maybe calling the man to stop and all that. I get a shotgun. Right? Seed grounds. And if the man continues, you ought to have been armed with less than lethal weapons to engage this person. But no, first option, despite what they're telling you, but other options were employed, there was never a need for lethal force to be used. Because shotgun is lethal force. Luckily, as we said, the man doesn't appear to have been seriously, well, at least suffer any life-threatening injuries. And luckily, those persons who were in the area were not affected by this reckless, callous use of this firearm. That's my take. And let me invite them to come after me when I make them statements. Because I speak from a position of authority when it comes to the use of firearm, use of force. As a matter of fact, let me share this with them. That when I went to the, when I did my stint with the FBI Academy, one of the courses what I did was management of deadly force. Deadly force management. Deadly force management is one of the courses I did. So I am qualified to speak on the use of force. I'm qualified to speak on the use of force. And again, I said nothing is going to happen because, again, to those who are listening, we are not advocating necessarily for the rank alone to be dealt with. You have to examine the whole system. Is the system needs re-examining? He was given what appears to be a shotgun. What type of instructions he undertook before you arming him with a shotgun to do in a situation like that? Because they say they were responding to the report of larceny. They're responding to a report of larceny. And they get shotgun. And the police weren't afraid to use a shotgun, even though you had other people. Look where the shotgun was fired. You had children around there. You had children around the thing there. Wait, did this policeman not even consider for a moment that these children or other innocent persons could have been injured? That is callous behavior. And they're not going to do anything to it, you know. And they say, here what they said, and this is a giveaway. They say investigations are continuing and further details will be provided as appropriate. You see that? The caveat is there, as appropriate. They will never find it appropriate to give an update on this matter. Never. Even though we are speaking about it, they're going to try to shame we and come out and say this is what has happened. So they're going to do that. They are not going to do that. So that is part of the problem that you have. That is part of the problem that you have in the system. Now let me move on. Now, let me jump to this one. I have so many things to talk about, but I'm going to deal with this one first because, again, I saw, y'all remember Adriana Young? She's now a memory, yeah? Died, I think, is on April this year, I think it was. Killed at Doubleday Hotel, Tucson East Bank, Essequibo, right? And they say she drowned in the pool, when all the evidence suggests that she was not, she did not drown in the pool. Even though the body was found in the pool, the evidence, circumstantial and other evidence, clearly suggests that she was killed elsewhere, right? She was killed elsewhere. Remember Mandel, the assistant commissioner in charge of the police division, came out with those misleading statements and so on. Remember they sent him on administrative leave for about 6 months, and then about a month ago, he back on the job in a more senior position as 2IC operations. Y'all remember all of that? Remember all of that? All right. This crystal ball working, you know. The crystal ball working. So I saw, I think it was yesterday or recently, a report on social media. I can read it. I can read it. Hear what the report says. Assuming the investigation into the questionable circumstances surrounding the death of 11-year-old Adriana Young is over, lawyers for Doubleday Hotel owner Boj Narain Bola have turned to the High Court to challenge what they describe as an unlawful travel restriction imposed on him by the Guyana police force. In the court findings submitted on December 5, Bola's attorney argued that the continued ban preventing him from leaving Guyana has no legal basis, particularly since the police have publicly stated there was no evidence of foul play in the child's death. The application names Police Commissioner Clifton Ikin and Attorney General Anil Nandalal SC as respondents and seeks the court orders to immediately remove any stop order, watchlist entry, or other restrictions affecting their client. The legal challenge outlined Bola's detention in April after Adriana Young was reported missing and later discovered dead in the hotel swimming pool at Tushan, Essequibo. Let's say Essequibo Coast. What is Essequibo Coast? Tushan is East Bank, Essequibo. Although he was held for several days and initially booked on a murder allegation, Bola was never charged. Investigators later released a statement indicating the death was consistent with drowning, though the final results of a second autopsy are not yet publicly known. Despite those official pronouncements, Bola's lawyers says he was released only on the condition that he remained within the jurisdiction, an order that he continued months after investigating announced. Let me read it back. Despite those official announcements, Bola's lawyers say he was released only on condition that he remained within the jurisdiction, an order that has continued months after investigations announced their findings. The application contends that the restriction is arbitrary, unconstitutional, and amongst the punishment without charge, especially given that Bola cooperated fully with investigators, including submitting a DNA sample. The filings also detail the fallout from the incident, including the burning of Bola's home, hotel, and vehicles, leaving him displaced. It further notes that he has been unable to travel to Canada to see his terminally ill father, despite repeated written requests to authorities seeking confirmation on whether the restriction has been lifted. His attorneys are People's Progressive Party Civic Member of Parliament Sanjeev Datudin, Khalif Gobin, and Mohani Aganu. Hey! But I sure you would remember that I said some time ago that you can go to court and ask authority. But let me analyze this part of it first. I can tell you what the crystal ball is saying. They're going to court because when this thing happened, this incident with this girl's death, this little child's death, right? Bola, the owner of this place, he named Boj Narain Bola, he was arrested as a suspect. And they say, according to this, he was booked for murder. Booked for murder, huh? Because it was generally felt this girl was murdered, despite all the bullshit they come and telling us. All right. The police then decide that they're going to keep his passport. He had to lodge his passport, and they said that they release him on bail. Some little bit amount of money, bail and so on. But we don't know that the investigation is going anywhere. The crime chief had said not some time ago that the investigation is ongoing, open investigation. So they have his passport. Now, if you get a person's passport, it means, in theory, you are preventing that person from traveling, which it is a violation of the person's constitutional right. You can look at it. This is not no person, I ain't thief no law book, right? I have read a few things and I understand a few things. Because even though you might say that you aren't preventing him from traveling, but you keep his passport. And once you have his passport in your possession, it means you're saying that he cannot travel out of Guyana, right? Now, let me remind you all, students, this is going to be an exam question, man. Let me remind you all that there was a case, if you recall, the case is Marceline Washington versus the Attorney General and the Chief Immigration Officer, who is the Commissioner of Police. She was charged and summary offense. And the what we call blacklist, they had the name on the list. And the matter went to court. I think it was Dr. Dexter Todd took the matter to court. And the judge then, who is now the acting Chief Justice, ruled that the police do not have the authority to prevent someone from leaving the country. That's what the judge said. They don't have that authority. He went on to explain that if an investigation is ongoing and the police decide or they feel that the person should not leave the jurisdiction, they have to make an application. They have to go to the High Court. And it's the High Court that has to make that pronouncement that this person must not leave the jurisdiction. So the fact, and I am representative for Bola, you know, I'm going to tell y'all because some of y'all, not y'all, some of them just take these things out of the context. We're talking here about the rule of law. That police can't hold on for your passport and tell you, well, they don't even ever tell you. They can't hold on your passport. If for some reason they wanted this man to remain in the jurisdiction, they have to approach the court. They have to approach the High Court to get an order that he should not leave the jurisdiction. But they hold on his passport, and therefore he can't leave. And then the man go on to say, you know, who he lies are. They say, according to the article, they say PPP members of parliament, PPP Progressive Party Civic Member of Parliament, Sanjeev Dr. Dane is one of the liars. Can't leave. They say he must leave. Police hold on. Now let me understand what happened. I don't believe the police stand a ghost of a chance in this matter. The court can say that they're holding on to the man's passport unlawfully. And then they're going to award it, the court going to award the man some money if they saw that and cost and all. So it's we the taxpayers going to pay. We taxpayers will have to pay. Because again, if you're conducting an investigation, you can't just keep the person's passport like that. I can never recall, and this is being honest, I can't recall when I was in the force, people passport, you investigate the matter, you tell them bring the passport and keep the passport. No, you came to court. I let the court make that determination. But these are different breed of policemen, different breed. And let me say this, what the crystal ball is saying, because I said this before. This is only one step in the process. Remember, they allude to the fact here, or they don't even allude. They mention it. The filing also details the fallout from the incident, including the burning of Bola's hotel, his home, and vehicles, leaving him displaced. Now, that is going to be the subject of another lawsuit. That is what my crystal ball is saying. That aspect, where you build in Bondang, the Bondang house, the Bondi car, they're going to bring that very soon, very shortly. That too is going to be the subject of a separate statement of claim, a lawsuit in the court. I kid you not. And let me tell you further what the crystal ball is saying. Right? Let me tell you how further. Mark this day. Mark this day. The crystal ball is saying, when I looked at it, that once that next lawsuit is made, they're going to want billions, with a big B, billions in money, billions of dollars as damages, compensation for the property that the police did not protect. The properties that did not protect. They're going to ask for billions of dollars as compensation. And you know what the ball is saying? The ball is saying that once that demand is made for billions, chances are, a little cloudy at this thing, the forecast is a little cloudy, chances are that the government will settle. Let me repeat that, student. Make a note. This is going to be an exam question at some subsequent time. I am saying that the crystal ball is showing that at some subsequent time, the owner of Doubleday Hotel, where Adriana Young bodies was found, she was murdered there. I make bold to say that. She was murdered. That he's going to take the government to court. Because he said they didn't protect his property. The police were there standing around, and the police allow all this happen. So the police are at fault. He's going to go to court. He's going to demand billions of dollars in compensation. Billions, with a B, in dollars in compensation. And I know the same lies you're going to have. But whoever he get to represent him, they're going to negotiate a settlement with the state. They are going to negotiate. They're going to negotiate a settlement with the state. And the settlement will amount to billions of dollars. Right? The settlement will amount to billions of dollars. Watch and see. The forecast little cloudy at this stage, but that is what it is pointing to. That is what it is pointing to. So yes, first instance, this matter is be filed on the 5th of December. Very soon, very shortly, the court is going to rule. That's if the government can name the Attorney General and the Commissioner of Police as respondents. It might even get, by the time we get to the judge, they're going to come to some agreement, give back the money passport, and love you to travel. It might even get to no hearing and all of that. They're going to decide that they're wrong. So, Mr. Bowler, come and collect your passport, and you're free to travel. That is likely to happen. And then when we settle on and so on, they're going to bring the next lawsuit against the state for all the property that damaged and so on. And they're going to write out nice flowery thing. Get all them the pictures and videos of all that took place there at Doubleday on the day after or the same day when this girl's body or this child's body was found. Get all of that as evidence. We show the police neglect. They stood around. They did not. They're going to even bring Mandel's statement, I suspect. Even Mandel going to come in, the assistant commissioner who was in charge at the time. All them going to come in. And then they are going to settle. They are going to settle to the tune of billions of dollars. What's the ride? Let me bring in CC for him to obviously. What's the ride? What's the ride? CC, what say you on those matters?
First of all, you indicated very early that they're going to take action against the state for billions of dollars. You said so? But maybe it's now, the clouds now clearing. But I'm shocked that they had prevented him from leaving, and the police took possession of his passport. When it is clear that the police has no authority to put any stop order on anybody, that if you want things to happen, you have to go before the court. You mentioned about marshalling case. There are other cases where in order to prevent me from leaving, you have to get a court order, or you're breaching my constitutional right. And let me read the Constitution for you. I have it here. Article 148. It talks about protection of freedom of movement. 48.1. No person shall deprive of his or freedom of movement. That is to say, the right to move freely through Guyana, the right to reside in any part of Guyana, the right to enter Guyana, the right to leave Guyana, and immunity from expulsion from Guyana. It's there in the Constitution. Although there are some provisions telling you that that in order, generally saying that in order for them to prevent you from going, you have to get a court order. A court order has got to come into place. So them nonsense of police telling you, hey, you can't go and stop your train at Timiri and they put a stop order and them kind of thing. Those things are illegal. You have to approach the court and get an order to prevent. But Doubleday, as you rightly mentioned, Paul, it's a setup for him to get money and for others to get money too and get a cut of the deal. So I agree with you. I don't be surprised after he filed the order that the government going to chuck in, that the attorney general going to say, no, 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 we ain't going further. We concede. It's all part of the corrupt practice. They set it up so that he could challenge the state and get billions of dollars, and others will get their cut because they will not contest it. But making the point is that police can't stop you from leaving the country. You have the constitution has protected you, but they have to get a court order, and that court order they can act on if the judge say, hey, you can't leave, you have to leave your passport and a whole lot of other things. It is as simple as that.
Yes, my brother. Yes, yes. And let me tell you this, I understand recently my research has led me to understand that when you have these lawsuits against anyone, the lawyers are entitled, well, not entitled, the lawyers will claim 30% of whatever sum of money is awarded. 30%. So if you, let me say, the court say you must get $2 billion, and the thing, 30% of that goes to the lawyers. That is what I understand. Breaking news. This is good news. Breaking news. Y'all share the live. Share the live. Breaking news. Remember the matter with Quinlan Bacchus? The man who the police shot and killed at Arlington on the East Coast. Remember not so long ago, Quinton the Nabriga, who was charged with the murder, got out for the High Court, following no case submission by his attorney. And we came on this program. You know what? You have us come to this program and we tell you that the two other persons who were charged, Cadet Officer Damian McKinnon and Thurston Simon, for some obstructing course of justice and all of that. We tell you, the fact that the murder charge was dismissed, the DPP should have taken shame out of the eyes and they should have withdrawn these charges. Well, this morning, Monday, the 15th of December, the matter came up before the magistrate. And let me read for you. Let me tell you first, and then I'll read details. The matters have now been dismissed. God is good. God is good. The matters against Cadet Officer Damian McLennan and Thurston Simon, those matters were dismissed this morning in the magistrate court. And everybody report is saying, 2 cops freed as magistrate opposed no case submission in Quinlan Bacchus' matter. Charges against Guyana Police Force members, Cadet Officer Damian McLennan and Lance Corporal Thurston Simon, were dismissed on Monday after the senior magistrate upheld a no-case submission at the Georgetown Magistrate Court. The ruling was delivered in court where McLennan's attorney successfully argued that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case against his client on the charge of attempting to obstruct the course of justice, right? As a result, he advanced a no-case submission, which the magistrate upheld, resulting in the dismissal of the charge. A similar outcome followed for Lance Corporal Simon, who was represented by another attorney. The court also upheld a no-case submission in the matter, leading to the dismissal of the charge against him. Both officers had been on cash bail pending the hearing and determination of the trial. The dismissal arises out of a wider set of proceedings connected to the investigation into the killing of 23-year-old Quinlan Bacchus, a father of one, on June 10, 2022. Lance Corporal Simon, Cadet Officer McLennan, had been facing charges for allegedly attempting to obstruct justice by providing false information to investigators probing Bacchus' killing. Following a recommendation from the Police Complaints Authority back in on July 3rd, 2022, the Director of Public Prosecutions advised that charges be instituted against Lance Corporal Thurston Simon, Cadet Officer Damon McLennan. The police Lance Corporal Christophe de Nabriga was charged with the murder of Bacchus. But then I go on to tell you the whole thing. I'm not going to go through all this again. But as I said to you folks on this program, Never an iota of evidence in this whole case. Never an iota of evidence. I had the privilege of perusing the file. I had the privilege of seeing the reasoning by the complaints authority, and I was disappointed. I was disappointed in some of the recommendations and all of that. And here they say, in case y'all forget, this murder took place on the 10th of June 2022. And then the recommendation was made, according to this article, on July 3rd. All of these officers, the Nabriga, who is now free, Damien McLennan, cadet officer, who is now free, and Lance Corporal Thorson Simon, who is now free, were charged on the 5th of July 2022. They were charged on the 5th of July 2022. Right? As is expected, the Nabriga charged of murder, remanded. You know, the other two charged of obstructing, they were remanded too. McLennan and Simon spent months in jail on the remand. Remand, months in jail. And I'm making this point again to emphasize the fact that the man who shot and killed the policeman at Vredenhoek put on $1 million bail. These men charged with, they said, perverting the course of, they said they give some wrong statement to the investigators. Remanded for months. Remanded for months. And what happened? When they appeared in court on the 5th of July 2022, Ikin, the Commissioner of Police, the confirmed squatter, right, dismissed them the same day, 5th of July 2022. So there was no presumption of innocence afforded to them. The Constitution of Guyana affords anyone, even your child, you're presumed innocent until proven by a competent court. Not in the case of McLennan, Simon, and the Nabriga, and many others. There's no presumption of innocence. It can dismiss them on the same day they appeared in court. He dismissed them. But you know, I'm happy because I always knew, I said it there on several occasions, there is no case against these people. The matters are going to be dismissed. But drag them through the court from July 2022, over 3 years, dismiss them. Dismiss them. The same McLennan, Damien McLennan, when this matter occurred, he was a sergeant, right? He was promoted to cadet officer because of his qualification. This is a man who persevered and ended up with a master's degree, continued the studies even when he was on remand, ended up with a master's degree, right? Ikin, a man who got an MBA, and he MBA start Mr. Brutus accomplice. A man who is, he's a MBA, Mr. Brutus accomplice. Dismiss these people from the 5th of July. Right? You see how unfair these people are? So these people were out earnings for all this time. All this time. But I hope the lawyers will advise them what to do. Because I had said from very early, they shouldn't wait. From the time they were dismissed in July 2022, they should have gone to the court to challenge the dismissal as unconstitutional. They weren't convicted of any offense. But now the charge against them have been dismissed. I hope they will make sure that they pursue legal remedies. I hope that they will pursue legal remedies. Because it is so unfair. It is so unfair. Bright man. I don't know Simon, but I know McLennan, because when I was with the West Indies Cricket Board, whenever we visit Guyana for international matches, he was one of the men they used to send to work along with the team. So I knew him very well. Very decent person from the interaction that we had. The fact that the man got the UG, get the degree, and pursued his master's successfully speaks to him as character. While in prison, he continued his studies. While in prison, he continued his studies. But as I've said, God is good. God ain't like ugly. He don't wear pajama. He don't sleep. Right? So I know that McLennan's mother is going to be overjoyed. She's going to be overjoyed. I know her to be a lady of faith. And therefore, madam, as we say, God don't sleep. Let me bring in CC to talk. This is something, of course, we did not plan to discuss this morning, but the fact that this news just came out, I thought I'll have to bring it to your attention. Go ahead, CC.
I'm happy that you brought it to attention because, from the inception, like you, I read the file, I had access to the file. And I was happy when I understand that the Complaints Authority was supervising the investigation as laid down in law. And I'm more than happy because I read a file before where somebody died in a lockups, I think at Essequibo, I think Bahadur or something, I can't remember the name. And the Complaints Authority supervised investigation and was thorough. Hit everybody left, right, and center from the magistrate to the lowest rank there, even in the traffic rank, because they said the readings that was traffic, the readings that the traffic rank give put up the instrument wasn't capable of giving such type of reading. But I was happy with that report. So I say, based on that report, we'll have an excellent report and justice will be done with the Bacchus matter. But no, when I look at it, when I read the statements and so forth, I say these guys shouldn't be charged. There's no way that they would be charged. But the squatter went ahead and did what he had to do and charged him. But then justice prevailed. God don't sleep. God is a just God. And I'm happy that they got off, although it took a little too long. But then they need to seek redress. They need to seek redress in the High Court. And I'm sure that they will do so very shortly.
Yeah. I'm so happy for those guys, man. I am so happy, especially for Damian McLennan. Very happy. Promising, a man with a promising career in the Guyana Police Force. Promising career. The evidence showed, as I said, I looked at the file, but I wasn't even on the scene. And others, you know the worrying thing? Others who were there, others who engaged in the chase, others who may have fired at the deceased person, Bacchus. They weren't charged with the murder. They weren't charged with anything at all. As a matter of fact, they have all benefited from promotions during the period of time. All benefited from promotions. They were promoted, and you don't have to ask their ethnicity. Don't ask them their ethnicity. They all benefited from promotion. And these innocent people were charged. Innocent people charged. Even the murder charge, that was a slam dunk case. You get several persons firing at this man, resulting in his death. No ballistic efforts, no ballistic evidence to prove that the gun that was issued to this man who was charged is the gun that discharged the fatal bullet. How you getting a conviction under those circumstances? Oh, wait, you want to tell me the DPP and go through this file and see all of that? But they're bowing to political and other pressure at the time because there were demonstrations and all that. So they decide, charge them and put them before the court. Destroy careers. Destroy. But let me tell you this. The day of reckoning is coming, The day of reckoning. You can't do all of those wicked things and get away with it forever. As I say, man can do as much as he likes, but not as long as he likes. Can do as much as he likes, but not as long as he likes. There is a God. There is a God. And when he put the hand on them, some of them will go fast. But people say we don't want to go fast. We want them to be around and to see how they suffer. To see how they suffer. When they're suffering, don't take no pity on them. Don't take no, let them reap what they sow. Don't take no pity on them. Don't. So again, I'm overjoyed over the fact that McLennan the matter against him has been dismissed by the magistrate. Looking forward, don't put it beyond them who say they're appealing, you know. Let me repeat that. Don't put it beyond them to say that they are appealing the case. They're wicked like that. They are wicked like that. But let's see where this will go. Now let me come to the next matter that we should have dealt with earlier. But because of time constraint, we could not have. Remember, the president came out at the breakfast last week, the annual police breakfast, and he talked about this, people who acquire the driver's license without going through the right process, use all kind of euphemisms and so on about the thing. People who are involved in the corrupt process of acquiring a driver's license. President, sir, they get a database, they get information, all those persons. They have the data on all those persons, and they're asking them to turn themselves in, turn their license in, and they got an amnesty of 6 weeks to do so, following which they are going to, their names are going to be publicized in daily newspaper. And I told you, Ali, I sit back to see who got hand in any driver's license that you paid for. People pay for the driver's license. The fee is between $80,000 to $100,000. You pay, you give the person who is the facilitator copies of your national identification card and 3 passport size photographs. You have a techno test, you got to buy no package, and you're going to be given a competence certificate. Because remember, I tell you all, the police don't issue driver's license. What the police do is to issue a certificate of competence. In other words, they're testifying that you're competent to drive a vehicle. That competence certificate is taken to the Revenue Authority, and they are the ones who issue the driver's license. So the president is saying that they have this database, and they know all the persons who bypass, that's the word he used, who bypass the system. And I say, and I maintain, nobody handing in no license. Right? And I said, and I'm repeating here for emphasis, that I would have thought that if the government, in particular the president, was so interested in eliminating this corrupt practice, then they would have caused an investigation to be done. You know the people, that's what you say, you know them, you get the address and so on. Pick them up, interrogate them. Who facilitated the process? They're going to do that because my understanding is, it is alleged that many of them got their driver's license because members of the government, ministers and so on, just call and say, hey, I send this man, give a driver's license or give a certificate of competence and all that. That's what's going on. So they're not in having any detailed, comprehensive investigation to find out who were the facilitators, because the facilitators are many. The facilitators are many, but government has no such interest. The president has no such interest. And that is by his own statement. Because they're not going to do any investigation. He's going to do, he's going to cause them to and then the thing, turn yourself in and go through the right process. And if you fail to do so within 6 weeks, your names are going to be published. That is the approach by the government on such a serious matter. And, you know, it says then, because I asked the question, and this is where I'm moving to the next slide, just give you a background there. When will the government look into the corruption involving the issuing of firearm license? Yeah, you're starting, you're saying you're going to investigate driver's license. What happened to firearm license? And that, in my estimation, the investigation into the lawful issuing of firearm license should be an easier investigation because you have all the records there of all the people who got license. You have to have it there, all the letters that were sent to them. Check the file to see when they applied, what type of investigation was done, when easier. That's an easy, that's a slam dunk investigation. A lawful firearm license. Check the applications. Check to see what was the involvement of the firearm board. Check to see what was the involvement of the Minister of Home Affairs, because the revised system that they have put the responsibility on the Minister of Home Affairs, because they tell you the police will investigate, Once the application is made, police investigate, police send a report to the licensing board. The licensing board considers, and then the licensing board sends it to the minister, who, according to what I understand, has the final say. The minister has the final say. But my information is that many of those firearm licenses would have been issued without going to any firearm board. So that should be an easy investigation, as I said, right? And then if you are going to investigate, as they should, let me give you an easier time frame to work with. Easier time frame. Work from, let me say this year. Start from, let's say, August going back. Don't start from August going back. And you're going to see that in the run-up to the last elections, which were held on the 1st of September 2025, hundreds and hundreds of firearm licenses were issued to certain people. That is what the allegation is. Hundreds and hundreds of firearm licenses were issued. They got you to know process. They were sent, certain communities, certain groups. People were sent to get your gun, and all of them get gun. A whole set of people get gun. So start from there. Start from there. I told you all too that the reason they say that so many firearm licenses were issued in the run-up to the last election is because people had anticipated trouble on the road. So the armed certain people were given firearms to defend yourself in case something happens. They were given firearms. And we told you too, they want to investigate, present time of investigating corruption. Not so long ago, about a month or so ago, a particular man went to a senior officer requesting a firearm license. The senior officer told him $2 million to get the license. This man, concerned about this, went to a senior politician, government politician, and told him about the encounter he had with the senior police officer. And they decided that they were going to set a trap. Simple language. All right, you want $2 million? Let me give $2 million. Call you and tell you to come at a certain place for collect the $2 million. The man called and told the senior police officer that the $2 million was available. Come and collect it. The senior police officer did not go. He sent another officer, right, to collect. He sent one of his juniors to collect the $2 million. And the junior was held, collecting the $2 million for his boss. And nothing happened, so nothing. You need nothing. $2 million. And we said that is the price. That is the going price for a 9mm pistol, $2 million. Check, when you investigate them age. You get 19-year-old and 20-year-old. They pay, Jackie Opel visited, they get permission to acquire 9mm pistols, which they walk around the place and the brandish and so on. 19-year and 20-year and 21-year-old people. President Time of Drive was there. So yes, it is bad. But check the gun license too. Check gun license to see what's going on. And my colleague has been talking about it. He where the run-ins there. He tells you where the run-ins take place. And they ain't doing nothing. Every time the president come, and then he blow out and he blow coal, seagull arrangement, and that is the extent to which they're interested in corruption. Let me bring in CC for him to comment on this. God, no, this is right up Iyali. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, and let me start with the president and his triangulated database. We get everything there. And I show in the database, you get the facilitators. And then he's going to give people 6 weeks. He didn't intend to do anything, Paul. He didn't intend to do anything. He like Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll away. Nothing would be done. Just sit down there and watch and don't do anything. If you got the damn database, take the action. What you wait for? Yeah? Take the action. But I saw like Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide all away. Nothing is going to happen, you know. And when we go back to firearm license, important to note that the firearm board, I understand, expire March this year. That the firearm board expire March this year, and it hasn't been renewed or they haven't appointed new members. But yet still, after March, a whole lot of firearms, and as you mentioned, prior to elections, hundreds, maybe thousands were given up. By if he loses election, things is going to get out of hand. So we want you to protect yourself. And then it's still firearms still being issued at police headquarters without a reference to Home Affairs. We know what happened at Chief Chanjapar Drive. We know what happened in a house at Rob Street. We know what happened in a building in Carmichael Street. We know what happened in a building northwest of Brickdam, where the old Brickdam police station. And we know what a doctor, a medical doctor from Lamar Street, a medical doctor from Lamar Street. The price is right, and you get it. And it's 2 million, and I hear it's going to go up just now too. So that is what they could do. I wonder if the president get a database, Pondo. And then let me go deeper. Allegations that a whole set of people get master's degrees, doctorate, unlawfully under questionable circumstances. I wonder if the president get a database on that. And I wonder if the president get a database of the facilitators of those persons with those bogus degrees, with those bogus masters, with those bogus doctorate. And understand there's certain man getting big who facilitated some of the things, getting big money, big funds. Here in the Guyanese, and they give some office somewhere at the back of the UG or somewhere. I think the president should look to find a database to do triangulation and let us know about those who got bogus or questionable degrees, master's degrees, doctorate, even from some universities unknown, and who facilitated the process, especially one who is not a Guyanese and getting big funds. Here they give some little office somewhere in at the back of the University of Guyana. So those three things, you know, the driver's license, the firearm license, and those bogus degrees, doctorate, and masters. Let's see if we can move from there.
Yeah, well, if they have an interest in getting to the bottom of these things, they're gonna do something. Now, let me say this. You know, we learned over the weekend of two mass shootings. One in the U.S., two persons died, Brown University, I think, and then in Australia, Bondi Beach in Sydney, I think it is, where two men, father and son, 50-year-old father, 24-year-old son, went there and shut up at some Jews who were celebrating one of their religious functions. Killed. The last thing I saw is that 15 of those persons have died. The father of the terrorists, or the terrorist father, he too died, and his 24-year-old son is injured in the hospital. But I know there's a viral video going around showing a man intercepting, showing an onlooker tackling one of the shooters, the 24-year-old son, and disarming him and so on. The man who, Good Samaritan, ended up injured as well and so on. We got to pray for him. And so, well, let me tell you, I say this to tell you and to show you how senior police officers interface with the media and the public when you have these incidents. A short tape I'll play for you. Here we go, listen.
I can say that we are not looking for a further offender. We are satisfied that there were 2 offenders involved in yesterday's incident. One is deceased. The second is in critical but stable condition in hospital at the moment. The offenders are a 50-year-old and 24-year-old male who are father and son. The 50-year-old is deceased. The 24-year-old is currently in hospital at the moment. As part of the investigation, we conducted 2 search warrants last night, one at Bonnie Rig and a second at Campsie. The 50-year-old male is a licensed firearms holder. He has 6 firearms licensed to him. We are satisfied that we have 6 firearms from the scene yesterday, but also as a result of the search warrant at the Campsie address. Ballistics and forensic investigation will determine this morning that those 6 firearms are the 6 that were licensed to that man, but also that they were used in the offence yesterday at Bondi.
You know, again, you have a major incident. The badge rank he's wearing there suggests he's a commissioner of police or some senior officer in that force. He comes out and he makes a statement to inform. Listen, basic. This is what we know. He's not speculating. He's not speculating. He's saying exactly what has happened. Man, a father and son. Father is 50-year-old deceased, son 24, critical but stable condition in hospital. They execute 2 warrants. Basic stuff. That is what you call transparency. But in Guyana, we have incidents like the bombing incident that killed this child. Nobody is coming out and face the media. No one. Of course, the commission is incapable of so doing. But that is a problem that you have. That is a problem. That is a level of incompetence. And I know because that is part, of course, the commissioner trained for the position. But that is part of the training, how you interact with the media, how you make these releases to the public so they can get confidence in the organization. Because when you do not do that, then especially in this age of social media, all type of information and misinformation will percolate on the social media. But I am sure that the people of that state, of that country, when they saw that senior police officer standing up there and giving that statement, I don't show that it's the entire statement, but it builds confidence. It builds trust, right? It builds trust, but not in Guyana. And I thought when I saw it, I said, let me bring it and show you the difference in professional policing as against what we have in Guyana. And let me tell you further, because let's assume that the commissioner is very eloquent, which we know he's not, right? But he doesn't have to be the one to necessarily face up with the media. Look, in Trinidad, when they had the issue with the commissioner of police and all them, I think the person who interfaces with the media and some inspector in Jamaica, you have people inspector level and even more junior than that. They are trained, they are qualified, they can face up to the media. Or you in the Guyana, you get a commissioner of police can't face up and give a simple update as to what transpired. Can't. Can't. And the most recent one is perhaps the gas station bombing. Not a word. Not a word. Right? And that is the difference between professional policing and this point policing thing where we get this keystone policing that we have in Guyana. Carry on policing that you have. So that is, well, they can learn. They can learn from that. Can learn, right? Now let me say this as we wind down this afternoon session. Remember I showed you, we had this Demerara, not the Bobby's Bridge. I showed you episode 1 and 2 on the first day, then one day I showed you episode 3. On the last occasion, I showed you episode 4. So I'm going to now show you episode 5 of that Bobby's River Bit scam. I'm going to show you episode 5. So sit back and listen to episode 5 of this Bobby's Bridge. Here we go.
In December 2019, Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire dismissed the bridge company's application to block Patterson's toll order. She ruled that his actions didn't amount to an illegal takeover. But the company appealed. The case went all the way to the Caribbean Court of Justice. And while the government maintained control and blocked that specific toll increase, the underlying problem never got solved. The concession agreement is still valid. The company is still owed money under that agreement. The guaranteed returns are still in the contract, and the concession doesn't end until 2029. So even though the government won this battle, they didn't win the war. They're stuck with a terrible contract that will keep costing taxpayers billions until they can either renegotiate it, buy it out, or wait for it to expire. Cabinet made the decision, not the NIS board. The 2016 forensic audit by HLB R. Ciberon and Co. dropped a bombshell. Cabinet ordered the investment, not the NIS board. According to the audit, the minutes of the 445th Board of Directors meeting state that Chairman Dr. Roger Luncheon, who was also head of the Presidential Secretariat and Secretary to the Cabinet, informed directors that approval was given by Cabinet for National Industrial and Commercial Investments Limited, Nickel, to sell 950,000 preference shares held in BBCI to NIS at par value. The board simply countenanced Cabinet's decision without proper due diligence to determine if the investment was in NIS's best interest. Even Jagdeo admitted in May 2016, "So, we dealt with NIS many times, but never about where NIS should invest their money. The only time that came up was when they made some investment in the bridge." The forensic audit concluded the board accepted decisions made by Cabinet and invested in a company, BBCI, which is making losses and which has many issues surrounding its going concern without proper analysis. What NIS lost or gained depends who you believe. What was lost as far as can be verified. 2013 report. NIS lost $1.8 billion on the Berbice Bridge investment. 2016 forensic audit findings. BBCI had accumulated losses of $1.507 billion by 2014. Common shares were impaired to a negative net worth of negative $2.77 per share. By 2016, NIS had received zero dividends on its $80 million common share investment. Preference share dividends for 2014 and 2015 were outstanding and unpaid. BBCI wrote to NIS requesting to reduce interest rates on all debt instruments from 9 to 11% down to 7.5% to avoid insolvency. All told, NIS lost $1.8 billion on the bridge according to government audits. It lost $5.8 billion in CLECO. That's over $7.6 billion in pension money gone. NIS General Manager as of December 2016, Holly Shane Greaves confirmed NIS was yet to receive 1 cent from investment in Berbice Bridge in dividends, though debt service was being paid. 2018 statement. By February 2018, NIS Finance Controller Jacqueline Scotland stated, "We have not received any dividends for our ordinary shares, but the bridge did not declare any dividends on those shares in any year. Also, dividends on the preference shares are outstanding for 2014 and 2015. The audit warned, in the event that BBCI becomes insolvent because of its current loss-making position, its issues with the government regarding the lowering of the bridge toll, its inability to generate adequate cash flows to meet its obligations, and the fact that the company doesn't even own a bridge but just a 21-year license to operate it, the investors' investments will be at severe risk of not being recovered. What was gained, according to Jagdeo? In April 2022, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo claimed NIS had received $3.3 billion from the $2.59 billion investment. His breakdown. Bond 1, $300 million principal at 9%. Full $300 million repaid. $276 million in interest received. Bond 2, $760 million principal at 10%. $995 million in interest received. Principal not mentioned as repaid could not be verified. Subordinated debt $500 million at 11%. $65 million redeemed. $517 million in interest received. Preference shares $950 million. $268 million received. Later reports say over $200 million. Total reclaimed returns $3.3 billion or $2 billion in interest plus $1.3 billion principal repayments. Let's reconcile these two narratives. Both accounts can be simultaneously true because they're measuring different things. NIS made money on debt instruments, bonds, and subordinated loans because those pay fixed interest regardless of company performance. This is where Jagdeo's $3.3 billion figure comes from. NIS lost money on equity, common and preference shares because BBCI operated at massive losses. The 80 million common shares became worthless. Preference shareholders received some payments but far below expectations. The real loss is opportunity cost. That $2.59 billion could have been invested in government treasury bills or other safer instruments. Instead, it went to a bridge company that racked up $1.5 billion in accumulated losses, couldn't pay maintenance costs from toll revenue, needed government intervention to avoid 266% toll increases, doesn't even own the bridge but just a 21-year license to operate it. Timeline matters. The 2016-2018 reports said NIS was getting nothing. Jagdeo's 2022 claims suggest substantial payments happened between 2018 and 2022. No one has produced documentation showing when exactly these payments occurred. The Berbice Bridge wasn't just a bad deal. It wasn't just poor planning or unfortunate circumstances. It was a carefully structured scheme to transfer wealth from ordinary Guyanese through their tolls and their pensions to a small circle of politically connected investors led by the president's best friend. Every dollar subsidizing that bridge today, over $1 billion in 2025 alone, that's the cost of this heist, still being paid. Every toll Berbice pay, the highest in the Western Hemisphere, that's the cost of this heist. Every pension payment NIS struggles to make because billions are tied up in bad investments, that's the cost of this heist. And the worst part? The people who designed this scam are still in power. Some of them are still in government today. And nobody has faced any consequences. This is what corruption looks like in Guyana. Not guns and masks, signatures and contracts and government approvals. But it's still robbery. And it's still happening right now, today, as you watch this video. The question is, what are you going to do about it?
This is what corruption looks like in Guyana. Not guns and masks. People with a pen. That is what the narrator is saying. Massive corruption. People can't get NIS pensioners, can't get no increase in the pension because of bad investment. Bullied investment to invest $2.5 billion in a bridge a bridge that has failed. That is what, bully. And the same man, Jagdeo, has come now, and people believe he's this financial genius. People take our money because I'm a NIS pensioner, invested there, right? Bad investment is what the people said, bad investment. And what? The people them who prefer people, they rake in money, man. Rake in. Friends and family and favorites, rake in money. That is what corruption looks like. Remember, we tell you repeatedly, corruption is not only the policeman taking a granger up on the road or anything like that. This is what you call corruption. Billions of dollars involved. billions, sweetheart deals, and all of that. That is what corruption is. That is what corruption is. Folks, and let me tell you this. This is the fifth and final part, as far as I'm aware. I don't think there's any other part. So what I'm going to do, I know I've been playing it. This is the third time I play, and you get it 5. But I'm going to try to put all the episodes together and post it on Speaking Out, so that you can sit at one sitting and go from episode 1 right to episode 5 to see the consistency and the easy, smooth transition from one episode to the other. I'm going to endeavor to do that as soon as possible, because these are things that we need to know. And I know that is why many of you come and Speaking Out, because you get information, real information, credible information. I dare them to rebut. Not me, it's not me, I just playing it. But I dare them to come out and to rebut that. All the revelations made there about the corruption, let them come out and let them think. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to put them all together in one episode and post it so that you can sit and you can see. Because altogether, I think it's like about 20 minutes or something like that. Right? 20, a little bit more than that. Less than half an hour, I think it is. Now, let me bring in CC for his closing, to make his comment, if he wants any comments he wants to make, and to give his closing remarks. CC?
Yeah, Paul. Just to rush back to that senior police officer's statement in relation to the massive shooting in Australia. I think you said 18 persons died. 2 points jump out clearly. He said that they executed search warrants and they're doing ballistic tests to see whether or not those guns were used in the shooting. Here in Guyana, we just go in and search people's place. We're not executing search warrants. And in very cases, we do ballistic tests. No, we did an excellent one. We found a piece of fragment and traced the fragment to a weapon that was used by a security guard. Let me repeat. We found a piece of fragment and traced the fragment to a weapon that was used by security guard. And in closing, I just want to know when they're going to go into Morudi Mountains and look at the large-scale gold production and smuggling, where the Brazilians smuggling the bars upon bars of gold across the Takatu River. And then some people want to know, when the police going to release the man where they say they're getting protective custody, witness protection in a house at Ivlery under adverse condition. The man doesn't want to stay there. The man wants his freedom, and they're keeping him against his will, like they kidnap him. People want to know when they're going to release him, when he's going to get his freedom.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. I hope they ain't getting like I hope that release is not coming like the convening of the meeting to elect the leader of the opposition, because they look like they're coming on the 12th of November. I understand from a report I read yesterday, I think it was Stabrook News editorial, that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Manzoor Nadir, they said the editorial suggests that he's back in the country. I remember they said the delay in this thing, they didn't want to swear, they don't want to appoint or to schedule the meeting to have the leader of the opposition elected. And they're making us out the excuse. Then the last thing is that Nandalal, they said that he was out of the country, the speaker, and they showed that when he returns, he's going to go. And I saw a very interesting letter in today's Stabrook News. So I'm questioning the whole thing about Nadir. Not Nadir, sorry, but Nandalal. The man bought you up nice first. Talk about his brilliance as a lawyer and all them. Then coming down, the man put some good lash in him, man. Put some good lash in him. In the same matter involving the leader of the opposition, the election of the leader of the opposition. So Christmas is coming. And you know, the Minister of Home Affairs did say, when speaking about tint, that the new law or the whatever regulation will go to Parliament before the end of the year. Today's the 15th. And by my count, by my reckoning, you get just about 2 weeks more. So perhaps between now and the end of the year, they're going to call Parliament. Whether it is going to be called to, well, not Parliament. Parliament will be called, but the electing or the election for the leader of the opposition does not require all members of Parliament, just the leaders or the members of the opposition. So let me see where that's going. Let us see where that will go, right? Let me see where it's going to go. So that is what we have. Folks, next week is Christmas. Let me remind you, today is Monday the 15th. Next week, Thursday, is December the 25th. I again urge you, no matter your circumstances, do your best, especially if you have children. I mean, it's rough when you calculated and you were expecting some cash grant as was promised. And now they come with all sorts of BS to tell you why you can't get this crash grant now. You can't get it, but they live in big life. I hear some of them travel to Disneyland with a picnic and all sort of thing at this time. But you, the small man with your children, because at this time you want a little toy for you. It's traditional little toy. You want something good to eat. But I will say to you, make sure you get your priorities right. And your priorities should be to ensure that you are comfortable at home. If you're paying rent, make sure you put aside your rent money so nobody can come and put you out, like how they do to a certain man. I'm following up the story. I hear a certain man get dashed out. I hear a certain man who just called black people hungry belly dog and all sort of thing. Right? I hear you get evicted. Not dash out. Dash out is not the correct, politically correct term. You get evicted. I understand. So we gotta see. Hope you don't get evicted. Get your priorities right. Get your priorities right. Food must be there for your children and yourself. You get something nice to eat on Christmas Day. Ties and all them things, well, you want it, but that gotta go. That can't be priority. Can't be priority. Window blind and all these things can't be priority. Wash the old one that you get there, put it up back. You know, I remember it's yesterday or someday, I was in the shop and I saw some balloons, and I remember saying, look how time changed. I remember a little boy preparing for Christmas. Who remember that? Yeah, balloons were the thing, and some flour. You get balloons and flour. You got to blow up the balloons, and you put up balloons all around the house. You nice up your house with balloons, and then you get all sorts of flour, plastic flowers and so on. Some people used to store it after the holidays, and then you wash up, you put it out back. And those were the days. I had a task of shining a lot of brass ornaments with shino or brasso at the time. Brasso, clean them up and so on. I had to task too of sanding and polishing the chairs. French polish, who remember that? Because them days is not lacquer. What you talking about is not lacquer. You have to sand those wooden furniture, and you got to French polish. Call for skill to do French polishing of your furniture. Well, then later on, lacquer came in, make life easier and so on. Right? Make life easier. So make sure that you prepare for your holidays with whatever little that you have. Right? Whatever little you have, what you say, eat little bit and live long. Eat little bit and live long. That is what old people say that you should do. Eat little bit and live long. Right? So I am saying to you, as we approaching season's greetings to all of you, and make sure that in the days leading up to Christmas, you remain safe. You remain safe, right? And you take care. You're gonna find something. You got a lot of people, and this is one of the things that I miss. You know, I some years ago, I used to make sure that at Christmas time, I put together a little hamper for the less privileged in my community. I did it, and for several reasons over the past couple of years, I have not been able to do it. I'm hoping that before long, I'll be able to return to that tradition to make sure that you can't eat alone. You can't eat alone. You're in your big mansion. You eat and you're throwing your bones through the window and so on, while others are suffering. Others are suffering. Can't eat alone. That's not the way I was brought up. I was brought up that when you're eating and you get something to give to somebody else, give to those persons, whether they're less fortunate or not, but sharing is caring. Folks, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. We are scheduled to be back here, God's willing, on Wednesday. That's the day after tomorrow. In the meanwhile, I pray that we don't have to report on any more deaths, especially on the roads. I pray that we don't have to report. But I urge you, I implore you to be careful as you go about. Be extremely, extremely careful. We have a lot of things that we did not get to touch on today. All these scandals and all these other things. God spare life on Wednesday. We're going to deal with those issues. So until we meet again on Wednesday, God's willing, be good, stay well, bye.